Hello, you are watching News Mongolian MNB World. I'm Jugdir Gambold. And for our top stories. Mongolia's economy expected to grow 4.1% in 2024 and 6% in 2025. Cabinet decision to tackle the impact of climate change on livestock husbandry. Children will often keep the fact that they're being bullied a secret, which only makes things worse. For the news, stay tuned. In its latest regional and country economic outlook, the Asian Development Bank has projected Mongolia's economy to maintain its growth trajectory despite facing various challenges. According to the forecast, Mongolia's economy is expected to grow by 4.1% in 2024 and further expand by 6% in 2025.
The Asian Development Bank report highlights the robust performance of Mongolia's economy in 2023, driven by increased mineral output and exports, leading to current account and fiscal surpluses, as well as larger international reserves. However, inflation remains elevated, although it receded slightly. Mining, particularly the Oyu mine, is anticipated to be the primary driver of growth in 2024 and 2025, with expectations of ramping up copper concentrate production. Despite the positive outlook, Mongolia still faces challenges in 2024, notably from one of its worst winters in recent memory, leading to a contraction in the agriculture sector. The Dzot disaster has resulted in significant livestock losses, with over 6 million heads of livestock perishing by April, emphasizing the need for increased climate investment to enhance resilience. The ADB country director for Mongolia, Shannon Cowling, emphasized the importance of attracting investment to meet climate commitments and bolster resilience through institutional capacity improvements.
On the ZUD, we do acknowledge that this is a significant challenge that has not yet resolved for the country, and that the UN has estimated that the potential response needs could be up to $14 million or more. You're right that several international diplomatic missions as well as international agencies have provided support. ADB approved a grant of $2.8 million from our Asia Pacific Disaster Response Fund, and this particular fund is meant to provide quick response support to governments for life-saving and life-sustaining needs.
And we see investment declining slightly in 2024 due to falling capital investment with the Oyu Tolgoi mine, which is now in its production phase. Whereas we should see that come back in 2025 with the recovery of the agricultural sector. As we look at our outlook for inflation, we see inflation moderating, this is average inflation, to 7% in 2024 and 6.8% in 2025, though it will remain elevated.
Inflation is expected to ease slightly to 7% in 2024 and somewhat further to 6.8% in 2025, although it will remain elevated. The current account balance, which shifted to surplus in 2023, is anticipated to return to deficit in 2024 and 2025 due to increased imports following strong economic activity and growth. The outlook also identifies downside risks, including the ongoing agricultural disaster, potential reductions in coal imports by China, as well as lower commodity prices. However, there are upside potentials such as higher commodity prices for both copper and gold, expanded coal sales, or a faster-than-expected production ramp-up at Oyu Tolgoi mine. Despite these challenges, Mongolia's economy is expected to navigate through, supported by its resilience and potential for growth in key sectors. The ADB's report underscores the importance of proactive measures to address challenges and capitalize on opportunities for sustainable economic development in Mongolia.
Pressures on inflation.
During its regular session on April 10, 2024, Mongolia's cabinet addressed the pressing issue of climate changes adverse effects on traditional livestock husbandry. In response, they've taken decisive action by drafting legislation aimed at mitigating these challenges.
The proposed law focuses on assessing and combating the escalating threats posed by droughts and droughts, which have disproportionately impacted local communities. With nearly 9.6% of Mongolia's total livestock, approximately 6.3 million animals, being lost to harsh winter and spring conditions, urgent measures are imperative. Key provisions in the drought law include enhancing the resilience of the livestock industry against climate change, reducing risks, and promoting sustainable development. Additionally, it encourages herders to form cooperatives to enhance livelihoods and economic returns from livestock products. Recognizing the severity of the situation, the Cabinet has expedited the submission of this drought legislation to the State Great Horol for immediate consideration. The aim is to leverage legislative support in addressing this crisis and safeguarding the livelihoods of Mongolia's herders. Stay tuned for further updates as Mongolia implements proactive steps to confront the challenges posed by climate change and ensure the resilience of its vital livestock industry.
Peer bullying often remains concealed from the public eye, making it challenging to address. When a child discloses such incidents to their parents or guardians, they can end up exposing themselves to further risk. Consequently, peer harassment or bullying persists for extended periods in secrecy.
A school survey revealed that 47% of students admitted to being bullied by their peers, although most of them tend to keep it concealed.
The police station rarely receives calls from children regarding bullying. However, calls are made when children are playing and one of them gets physically injured. When someone who used to bully the child attempts to reconcile, they often resume bullying, claiming they informed others about the past incident. The lack of accountability under the law enables bullies to disregard the consequences of their actions.
When I was in high school, peer bullying wasn't as prevalent as it seems to be now. It's possible that bullying has become more common after our graduation. If a child experiences bullying, they should inform their teachers and guardians and allow them to handle the situation. Even if the bullied child reports the bullying to their parents and law enforcement, the perpetrator, often a minor themselves, escapes prosecution. This loophole contributes to the escalation of bullying incidents, subjecting the victimized child to additional pressures. For bullying incidents involving primary and secondary school-aged children, educational measures are in place to help children understand and report such behavior, even if they are not held criminally responsible.
Over 40% of bullying incidents among children involve physical aggression directed at others' bodies. Additionally, around 37% of bullying comprises verbal abuse and discrimination, even without any physical violence.
Officials note that children rarely report bullying incidents to the police, yet there are numerous cases of criminal behavior among children. Consequently, without improvements to anti-bullying laws, there is a risk that bullying will continue to escalate and potentially evolve into criminal behavior in the future.
When families have open communication, children feel more comfortable sharing their experiences without fear of hiding them. This enables parents to take appropriate actions once they have been informed, making this approach more effective in addressing bullying incidents. I believe that addressing this type of bullying can be reduced if parents actively engage in conversations with their children and closely monitor their social circles, including where they go, who they spend time with, and nature of their friendships.
In foreign countries, the penalties for bullying are quite severe. For instance, in 2022, 4 children who assaulted a 13-year-old girl in South Korea received prison sentences. Furthermore, there are legal provisions that prohibit singers and actors who engage in bullying, imposing substantial fines and barring them from working in their profession in Korea. Alongside these legal measures, researchers suggest that addressing this issue requires comprehensive attention to factors such as family dynamics and child-rearing practices.
Now please take a look at currency exchange rates provided by the Mongol Bank. Now please take a look at foreign news partnered with international news agencies. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Thursday that whoever hurts Israel would be hurt. His comments came after Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Wednesday again promised to retaliate against Israel over the killings of Iranian generals in a strike on its consulate in Syria.
We are in challenging times. We are in the middle of the war in Gaza, which continues in full force. At the same time, we continue our non-stop efforts to return our hostages, but we are also preparing for scenarios of challenges from other arenas. We established a simple principle: whoever hurts us, we hurt him. We are preparing to meet the security needs of the State of Israel both in defense and in attack. I and the people of Israel trust you, and may we all have great success.
Last week's attack on Iran's consulate in Damascus was widely blamed on Israel. The strike on April 1st killed 12 people, including 7 Iranian Revolutionary Guard members, 4 Syrians, and a Hezbollah militia member. Israel has not acknowledged its involvement, though it has been bracing for an Iranian response to the attack, which marked a significant escalation in their long-running shadow war. Iran supports anti-Israeli militant groups like Hamas, who are battling Israeli forces in the Gaza Strip, as well as the Lebanese Hezbollah.
South Korea's Prime Minister and the senior presidential officials offered to resign en masse Thursday after their ruling party suffered a crushing defeat in parliamentary elections in a huge blow to conservative President Yoon Suk-yeol.
Seoul citizens were critical of Yoon after the opposition party's landslide victory. Office worker Kim Min-sun said the vote was Yoon's punishment for acting against people's wishes.
When I look at the election results, as a citizen, I think it was an obvious result because the president has been acting and governing against the people's wishes. I think people have sternly punished the government and ruling party.
Another office worker, An Eugene, said the election results were simply a feedback on how Yoon has been governing South Korea. I think the results were simply a feedback on the president. I hope he listens to the feedback and makes it an opportunity to govern the country in a more constructive way. The results were a huge blow to Yoon, likely setting back his domestic agenda and leave him facing an intensifying political offensive by his liberal opponents during his remaining 3 years in office.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying tuned. We'll see you next time with more news and updates. Have a good day.